Well, a major trauma is not something you plan for, but it is a reality for many people.
How to overcome the situation is the focus of some upcoming workshops and a unique body-based trauma recovery technique. Now, to tell us more, welcome Dr. David Berselli and Adam McCabe. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
And so I kind of mentioned TRE.
Right.
Kind of explain to me what that is.
Okay. Well, TRE is called Tension and Trauma Releasing Exercises, and it's a technique I discovered when I was already living in Africa and the Middle East in situation of violence. And I discovered that cultural counseling doesn't work because cultures are so different, languages are so different. But the body itself goes through a tremendous shock and trauma for any incident. So the exercise technique itself is around a shaking mechanism. If you ever got nervous and you started to reach for your cup of coffee and you were nervous about something, even if you're getting married and you're nervous and anxious, well, the body automatically shakes itself. And what I discovered is it shakes itself deliberately to calm itself down. So I developed a way to actually activate that shaking mechanism through a series of simple exercises, and then I can get an entire group of people to actually calm down their own nervous system after a traumatizing event.
Oh, wow. So you've mentioned you've been in the Middle East with this technique. Where else have you kind of used this technique to help people?
Oh, I've used it in 7 continents all over the world. I went to the tsunami survivors in Japan, earthquake survivors in Chile, Argentina, and a lot of countries in Africa and the Middle East. So I've really worked in a lot of natural disasters or human-made disasters, like mass shootings, as an example, in Norway when they had the shooting of all the children on the island. So I travel the world following disasters.
And Doctor, you actually have done some of that here in Arizona as well.
Yeah, I do that a great deal now here in Arizona because I'm living in Phoenix now, and we're going to be doing some workshops here in Tucson. And I'm teaching large populations, like school shooting groups. I will go out and teach large populations on how to help themselves and help themselves as a family heal from trauma.
Wow. And now, Adam, we have you here. You're a former Marine, and you've actually benefited greatly from this technique that David's talking about. Will you tell us a little bit about your personal story?
Yeah, certainly, Heather. So my transition from combat to community is not unusual. I had a very difficult time. A lot had to be discovered for me and what my new identity looked like, how to process a lot of wounds that I had received overseas, both physically but more importantly emotionally and mentally. How do I really carry some of the actions that I'd taken? And I didn't have the answers for that. And as a result, I was really out of balance, both in mind, body, spirit. And I was introduced to Dr. Berselli and his work and found it to be what I needed, a way for me, a tool that I could carry with me and use to regulate my nervous system when I needed it, as opposed to needing to call up a counselor or a therapist and schedule something weeks in advance. I had a tool that I could carry with me, a learned behavior that I could pull out and use it as I needed it and share with other veterans, share with peer groups so that they could use it. Really, it's been life-saving for me and many, many others. It's a simple set of exercises that have profound results.
Well, I want to first thank you for your service and thank you for coming on to share your story and what it's done for you. And now, Doctor, everything we've kind of talked about, like you said, from mass shootings to natural disasters to somebody that may be dealing with PTSD. When we say trauma, can this be a very broad explanation, I guess?
Yeah, trauma is a very broad experience, and everybody has it in life. A trauma, everything from an emotional experience like a divorce, or even a minor car accident could be a trauma. Your children getting sick accidentally or falling out of a tree and breaking an arm. All of those could be considered trauma in the sense that they elevate the nervous system to an excited charge, which then has to be calmed down.
Wow. Well, I know that you're going to give our viewers an opportunity to meet you in person and maybe even get the help that they need by meeting you coming up at the JCC. And I'm going to actually make sure that our viewers have all of that information for you.
Great.
But I want to just first say thank you again, Adam, for coming on and sharing your story. And then, David, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. I know a lot of people are going to get help because of you. So
Thank you. Great.
Tina, Heather, thank you very much.
And the Miraculous Healing Experience, it's going to take place on April 1st to the 3rd at the JCC. For more details, just call 443-602-6941 or log on to danhornerproductions.com. Also learn more about Dr. Berselli at traumaprevention.com.